Okay, people. So I was recently sent Asian American Eaz'd an immigrant comedy special. And man, I love comedy, right? Who doesn't love comedy? Yeah, I mean, people do, the weird ones. Yeah, I was like, all right, I'm going to check this out. It is directed by Felipe Figueroa, written by Ana Tuazon Parsons, Aidan Park, and Nicky Endres. It is executive produced by Parsons. Park and Endres co-produce. Leanna McAllister handles cinematography. Sefton Leggett is on makeup, and Birdie Sawyer helps out with editing. Now, we have performances from Ana Tuazon Parsons. Then we have Nicky Endres, and Aidan Park closes the show. Right? So it's basically three Asian Americans tell their stories of immigration, growing up, assimilation, and finding themselves in this heartfelt stand up comedy special. So, yeah, I think the great thing about comedy is that there's so much variety in it. You know what I mean? I think the problem is, right, when you think about other media, right? Films, books, music, there are all these different genres. Like comedy is just comedy. It's not really, you know what I mean, broken into genres. Like people might use terms like slapstick, um, s- dry humor, dark humor, but it's not really genres, right? When you see comedy specials or, you know, it's never broken down. So it is this varied thing, you know, but it's always interesting. And I think stuff that I do, I mean, I like across the board, really, but it's always interesting when people take actual experiences, right? Experiences and life, and weave stories through that. And that's what we have with this immigration special, because all of the comedians, right? They all have come, you know, from another country, right? They're all immigrants. And so they're talking about this experience, which in a way is all different, but it's all shared, right? Because there's always those similarities, right? The discrimination, the attempts to try and fit in. And it's just when it's used for comedy, it's great, right? Because you can turn what was a a bad situation when it happens to you as a little kid, right? It's not like, oh, I can use this for comedy, right? You don't think like that. It's just like, yo, why is this grown person shouting at me? What the fuck is going on? But when you can take those experiences, flip them, it takes all the power away. So we get to hear all of these just, yeah, amusing tales, right? It's definitely amusing, right? And just these different, just so many, right? Different takes on all the different things going on. Like Anna taking, some homemade food to a party, right? And it's building the joke up where, the audience will think it's going to go in one direction, and then at the end you flip it, right? And I love a good, build up, right? When someone can craft a story where they just completely misdirect you, there is a beauty in that. And yeah, we get a lot of those. We get a lot of those, you know? It's yeah, it's also got those raw moments, right? Those moments where you can clearly see, right, the memories are having an effect on the individuals, right? For all of them, right? Anna talks about her growing up and her mum massaging her legs, right? Aidan talks about, um, the death of a loved one. And, Nicky talks about a friendship dying. And you can see how those things are still very strong in the feelings, right? It's still something that's like, there's a sadness there, but they're also channeling that. And, you know, that's what makes it great, right? Because you can take those things and you can make them funny, right? You can talk about ancestry. You can talk about, coming out. You can talk about going to a buffet. You know what I mean? So, yeah, look, it's an hour-long special. It's split into 3. So each person gets, I think it's probably roughly about 20 minutes, right? And yeah, they all come and do their thing. All come do their thing, tell their story. So yeah, look, I definitely laughed, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I definitely laughed. I definitely enjoyed it. It's an interesting thing, right? It's interesting because I think, even though, right, these are Asian Americans, when they're talking about some of those experiences, I had some of those experiences, you know? So it's like you can relate. And I think even if you, haven't experienced racism, or, you're not an immigrant, I think you can still, emphasize. You can still go, oh, okay, yeah, I wasn't a cool kid, right? I was, you know, a bit of an outsider in school, or, oh, yes, my parents cook weird food, so I understand that experience. So, you know what I mean? There's so many things that you'll be able to still relate to, which is why, people, comedy is universal. It's universal, you know? So it's always, yeah, it's always a joy just to watch so many different varieties. You know what I mean? Like, so this, right, it dropped originally on the Real Women's Network. It's now available on Amazon. It's on Apple TV, just anywhere where you pick things up. I mean, I should paraphrase when I say pick things up, not the supermarket. You can't get it there. But wherever you get your films, your TV, you will find Asian American Eyz'd, an Immigrant Comedy Special. So yeah, people, I would definitely recommend you checking this out. I actually I know Aidan Park, right? Because he's friends with Kate Quigley, and he's been on her podcast a lot, right? What was it called? Date Fails, I think it was. Right. So I'd known some of the things he talked about. But it was interesting, yeah, checking out like Anna and Nicky. Because, I think it's like going to a gig, right? And you know the main act, but you don't know who the support is. Right. And that's always exciting, because it's just like, oh, who am I going to discover? And there's definitely a load of people I've discovered at gigs. So it's just like, doing something like this, you get, okay, there's two new comedians who I can check for in the future. You know what I mean? So yeah, people, I enjoyed this. So yeah, all the links are on the website. You know how I do, people. So yeah, go get yourself a little humor, right? Go get yourself a little humor. I do not think that, if you like comedy and if you like comedy that utilizes, what I mean, real stories, personal experiences, then yeah, I think this one could be for you. All right. So, people, Asian American Eyz'd, it is out now. Go get you some fun.